to talk about the basic Bitcoin wallet today. So the wallet we're going to talk about is Electrum. This is just kind of a standard normal desktop wallet that you'd find anywhere in the community. And the reason I'm using Electrum is that it's a good wallet as far as security. You can encrypt your coin, which is very nice. Also, if there happens to be a split or fork in the chain, you can actually download other wallets and import, for example, your private keys into the other wallets and get a duplicate or airdrop of the coin. And we'll go into that a little bit later. So in order to access Electrum, first we're going to go to the main website here. This is what it should look like at the moment. This is February 2018. And so what you do is just go to download and choose whichever one works for your OS. So it could be Linux, Windows, OS X, Android, whichever works for you. And just download, and when you're ready, just install it. And once you install it, it'll give you some options. And so some of these options will include, whether you want to encrypt it or not, which I would recommend you do. It really helps with security. Other things you can do, you can try to import, if you already have a wallet for some reason, you can import your private keys from the other wallet. It'll generally store a file on your computer, so you just want to find that file. It's different for each OS, so take a look at that. One of the things it'll also do is give you your seed keys. So a seed is generally for if your wallet becomes corrupted in some way, you need to reinstall it and get access to the same files on the same software. So in this case, it should be around 12 to 16 words, depending on the software. It could be more, could be a little bit less. They're randomly generated. And while you can copy paste them to a Word document, what I recommend you do is write them down. And then it's going to ask you to type them back in so you get access to the wallet. And from there, you should be good to go. Now, once you install, you should see something like this. This is the Mac version. This is the Mac version of the wallet. And on this one, it's a little bit more streamlined. Now, normally on the left or right side, there would be a kind of like a barrier. And on that barrier, you would see your balance. And that's just how it's designed. In this one, because it's Mac, it's a little bit more streamlined, and on the bottom left, that's where you actually see the balance. Now, I'm going to direct you to the receive option here. And the reason we're going to go there is this is where you will see your actual deposit address. And the cool thing about Bitcoin, and the cool thing about altcoins, the cool thing about crypto in general is that nobody can trace you with this. Nobody can find your address. It's not linked to who you are. It's not a social security number. It has nothing to do with any sort of thing linked to you at all. So you could literally throw this address out on a sidewalk. If you're a business, you can put this anywhere on advertising. You could put this up on Dodger Stadium's Jumbotron, go Dodgers, or something like that. And it won't come back to you. Now, there are some caveats. If you're doing something very bad and illegal, then yeah, they're going to trace you as hard as they can and do what they can. But one thing I want to show you here is this QR code. So QR codes became popular, like a decade ago now at this point. But you can put that places too. People can scan this, get your address, and send you money. It's really cool. And watch what I do. You can name it. And wallets have ways to name your account sometimes. In this one, I called it deposits. So let's see what happens when I just type in random numbers. See the QR code changing as I do that? So it just shows you kind of the randomization, kind of the different layers that allow variability, and it just kind of keeps you safe. It's just really cool. Did I even spell that right? No, I didn't. There we go. Deposits. All right. And from there, if you get Bitcoin deposited, whether it comes from an exchange or a friend, family member, whatever, it's going to show up in your history. And generally these days, it's going to take somewhere between half an hour and an hour in a normal transaction, and possibly up to 2 hours. And if it's just a really bad situation, like a day, most of the time it's going to be faster than any sort of bank or PayPal situation. It's rare. In fact, it's one reason why a lot of these services have been actually improving, I believe. So this is the send option. Now sending, again, if you have a QR code reader, you can actually use a scanner and scan the code, and usually the code will appear here. Their address will appear in the Pay To option. And you can, again, try to, write something like, I don't know, birthday presents. Now this time there's no randomization option because you're just sending it to someone, and is just going to show, I can always see what I'm typing, it's wonderful. And then you type whatever amount, so 1 Bitcoin, which is like 9,000 as of this video. So let's say I wanted to send 1 Bitcoin to, I don't know, Mickey Mouse. And so I send it to, no, let's choose someone better. How about Goku from Dragon Ball Z? So I send Goku 1 Bitcoin. I have no idea what he would do with it, by the way. Don't ask me what Goku would do. He'd probably buy food. And so pay to Goku. And so let's say his address was, da, 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 da. And so I want to send it to him. Now here's some options. So let's say you type in 1 Bitcoin. You can also put max. So if you, whatever your account is holding, you could put max. Let's say it was 1 Bitcoin. This would be your mining fee. And what the mining fee dictates is how much money is going to be put in the transaction for the miners. And miners get paid for processing your transaction as well as getting drops of new Bitcoin. That's why mining is profitable. They get paid for the transactions, they get paid for getting new Bitcoin. They're unlocking new Bitcoin as they process your transactions. So if you do a higher fee, this is how you get in, under half an hour, that sort of thing, when the network is doing really well. Or if you have a little extra time and you don't really care about the speed, put a low mining fee. And the cautionary tale about using a low mining fee is that in some cases when the network's super busy and the hash rate's just churning through millions of transactions, the problem is that sometimes on the low mining fee it can take days. And you have to be careful about that. So I always recommend just doing the normal mining fee unless you just don't care when it gets there, whatever. And if you're in a big hurry and you need it the same day, guaranteed, use the high mining fee. But for the most part, average should be okay. Anyway, that is the basic wallet. That is Electrum in a nutshell. So let's talk about briefly some other types of wallets. There are generally two types of generic wallets that you'll have, and these are going to be cold and hot wallets. Cold storage or cold wallets generally would be anything that is not connected to the internet. So that would be like if I had Electrum here, like on this laptop, and I didn't have this connected to the internet. That's a simple form of a cold wallet. No one's going to access it unless they physically came and stole my laptop. Another form of cold wallet would be like a KeepKey. I own a KeepKey. They're very neat. It's basically a physical wallet about this big, and it's electronic, and I transfer the Bitcoin into it. It's kind of like almost iPhone size. And it's really cool, and it's really safe because it's a lockdown system within a lockdown system that is also disconnected when you're not transferring anything into it. And when you're not accessing it, there's no way anybody can really access it. It's high-level hacking if they manage to get there the moment you're making that transaction, or you're just very careless. Other wallets are paper wallets. Some wallets, I'm not sure if Electrum will do this, but some wallets do support the generation of paper wallets. So this would be access to your private keys basically on paper, and you can realize them in a wallet in software later on. There are also brain wallets, and brain wallets are like if someone memorized their keys and seeds in their head and realized them in a wallet later on. And this is just high-level thought. I can't do that. I'm not very good at memorizing alphanumeric numbers that are 18 digits long, and I have to retype them. So for me, that's not really an option. Hot wallets we'll talk about is the wallet I'm showing you right now. I'm connected to the internet. I would consider that a hot wallet. Other wallets include if you make a wallet on the internet. There are websites where you can have Bitcoin, Litecoin, Doge wallets that are connected to the internet, and you access them through your browser. These are okay in a pinch, and if they're a specific program maybe that allows you to, I don't know, hold with interest or something like that. Understand that you do not have access to your private keys. And this means that as soon as you send your Bitcoin somewhere where you don't have access to your private keys, if something happens to it, then it's gone. It's just that simple. So understand that that's a risk that you are taking. Sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. Another form of hot wallet are exchanges. So even some places where you buy Bitcoin is a hot wallet, and you need to be very careful. Now, trusted sites will have dual authentication. They'll have multiple passwords. They'll send messages to your phone to make sure that it's you, things like that, in order to ensure that you're not going to be hacked or that there's no middleman attacks from hackers or something like that. And they're just and it keeps their site secure. So this would be like a Coinbase would be very good for that. A Coinbase is where you would buy that sort of thing. But I caution you about keeping your any coin in various platforms like markets or exchanges. And the reason why I say that is that exchanges are always being targeted by hackers. You will always look in the news and see that someone has hacked an exchange. So unless you're actually an active trader or speculator, I would recommend not keeping a balance. And if you do, have it budgeted. Um, Even people who don't delve into exchanges often only sell 0.01, 0.02 Bitcoin at a time. So we're talking hundreds of dollars, not thousands, not 10,000s, not hundreds of thousands. And this is just good ways to make sure that your Bitcoin's going to the right place. And if there's a mistake, you didn't lose that much or anything like that. And this is a good practice in general if you're just going from wallet to wallet. If you get into like the $500 range, consider splitting it up into multiple transactions. The benefit of a Bitcoin wallet, though, is that if you have ways to sell, for example, I have a Visa through Shift through an exchange like Coinbase, is that I can transfer Bitcoin from my wallet to Shift via Coinbase and withdraw cash. I can buy a Starbucks at the local market. I can buy pizza on Friday night. It's super amazing and very exciting. I used it to buy the laptop I'm using right now. Just Bitcoin in general is just amazing. You can remit to yourself. You can send coin to friends and family. It's just really cool. Anyway, so that was the overview of basic wallets and wallet types, and I'll be going over some more things and how to get it for free and how to buy it in the next couple of videos. So thank you and stay tuned.